Hey guys, welcome back to Ace Recaps. Today I'm going to be explaining a 2021 Hindi horror comedy film titled, Rui. The movie starts off as an American reporter introduces us to the city of Bhagatpur. He shows us many weird things like people fighting each other with cow dung, a kid drinking milk straight from the cow and a woman playing mermaid in sewage water. We are then introduced to two friends Pandi and Katani, who are being interviewed by the reporter. They tell the camera that they are famous for one tradition in this town which is known as bride kidnapping. Basically, men who eye a woman hire these two to go and kidnap her and bring her to the wedding. Nobody does anything about this since it's an ancient tradition. They then show the reporter how this tradition is executed. They are seen dragging a girl into their van and taking her to the wedding. The girl first seems very upset by this and spits on a woman's face. But after a while, the family shows her all the gold they own and the girl finally agrees as she's a gold digger, ha. The same night is the wedding and they are all seen partying and having fun together. The next morning, as they are dropping off the American reporter, the two guys get a call from their boss asking them to kidnap a girl named Rui who's walking out of the hospital with her father. The two men devise a plan and decide to execute it as they are walking. Katani acts as an astrologer who annoys the shit out of both of them. As they get in their car to go away, he makes his move and grabs Rui. Pandi drives ahead in his van and the both of them manage to kidnap her. Rui puts up a fight but she's no match for them as they dose her with a chloroform-dipped rag. Once she passes out, they call their boss to tell them that they have completed the mission. Unfortunately, the uncle of the groom has passed away and the wedding has been postponed. So he asks them to take her to an abandoned factory close by and treat her well until the day of the wedding. The men unwillingly agree. That night, they reach the factory in the middle of the woods and keep her locked in a room. They cook her some food, and Pandi takes the plate in to feed her. When he enters the room, he notices that the girl is missing. He looks around the room but he doesn't find her anywhere. Just as he's about to leave, he spots her on the wall possessed by a demon. He freaks out and runs back to Katani, crying to him that the girl is possessed. Katani doesn't seem to believe him and they both go back to check on her again. They see her innocently eating the food dropped by Pandi and Katani tells him that he's just hallucinating. She hears them and comes to the door and asks Pandi for more food. He looks at her innocent face and is mesmerized by her beauty. He feeds her plate after plate after plate until she's finally full. Katani is shocked by the number of eggs that the woman has eaten and Pandi defends her saying she must have been really hungry. That night Rui's father is seen giving a police complaint about his kidnapped daughter. He shows the cops two pictures of her, in one she looks normal and in the one she looks like a demon, which shocks the officer. He explains that a year ago was the day of her marriage, but just as she was about to get married she got possessed by a demon and scared everyone out of the wedding hall. Ever since then the demon randomly takes over her body. The next morning Pandi stares at Rui while she sleeps. He's fallen for her innocent soul. She then walks over to the mirror and starts combing her hair. Just as Pandi is about to click a picture of her, the reflection in the mirror turns into a demon and jumps out. Pandi panics and runs towards Katani, but looking at him dressed as a zombie, Pandi passes out. That night, as the two are walking through the forest, they spot a half-eaten deer. Pandi suspects that Rui has escaped from the cabin, so they go to check up on her. They see that the roof of the cabin has been broken and Rui has escaped from there. So both of them start looking for her. Pandi goes into the factory while Katani looks through the forest. At the factory Pandi seems to be frightened but he keeps pushing further. He comes across a bunch of mannequins and suspects Rui to be among them. As he goes closer, bats fly across the factory which scares Pandi and he trips down the stairs. Rui is also at the bottom of the stairs and they both stare into each other's eyes, but they are suddenly interrupted by Katani and he wrecks their moment. She then tells them that she needs to pee, so Katani takes her into the forest. She suddenly transforms back into the demon and starts feasting on the dead carcass of an animal. He is shocked looking at this. She looks back and starts walking towards him. Now it seems like Katani has fallen in love with the demon side of Rui as she's the only girl to ever give him any attention. He isn't able to stop blushing like a little girl while looking into her eyes. Suddenly Pandi comes in between and ties her to a tree. She struggles for a bit but then turns back to normal. Pandi then carries her back to the cabin. Both the men then sleep next to each other and speak about how amazing Rui is. Both of them seem to be in love with the same girl, but with different sides of her. The next morning, we see that Rui is tied to a chair and Katani has filled the cabin with barn animals for her to feed on. He even tries chanting some gibberish to summon the demon, but it doesn't work. He then unties her and she runs to Pandi for protection. Pandi has brought in an exorcist that he found on Instagram with 200 followers. The priest proceeds with the exorcism by feeding her some pawn. Katani isn't happy about this as they are trying to get rid of the love of his life. Rui suddenly transforms into the demon and the priest freaks out as his exorcism did not work. They are all seen running for their lives through the forest. They take shelter behind a fallen tree and the exorcist tells them that the demon that possesses her is of no ordinary kind. It's the demon of an unmarried witch which is the most powerful. He tells them to forget the girl and save their own lives and run away. The two men who are left behind are cornered by the demon. Katani looks at her and only sees love in her eyes. So he goes close to her and they share an emotional moment together where he tries to hold her pinky finger like an old-school romantic. The demon also doesn't seem to mind as she likes Katani too. She then walks away, and Katani hopes that she looks back at him because if she does, it means she loves him back. She then rotates her head and smiles. The two men are then seen fighting over who gets to date Rui. They've both been friends since childhood but never fought over a girl till now, but they both equally love the two sides of this girl. As they are fighting they spot Rui passed out by the side of a stream. They help her up and Pandi suddenly gets a call from their boss who asks them to get her to her wedding. The boys disagree, so the boss sends two men after them. Pandi then promises Rui that he'd go to the ends of the world to find her a cure and heads out. He then exchanges his truck for a bike and goes from place to place trying to find a solution. He first attends a healer's program which turns out to be a scam and another fake priest who claims that all ghosts are fake and everything can be solved with science. Meanwhile we watch as Katani unties demon Rui and has the time of his life playing around with her. All the while she only says one word, marriage. They blow bubbles together and even ride in an abandoned car. As they are about to click a selfie, the boss's two men arrive. They threaten Katani to hand over the girl but Rui gets mad at them and beats the living crap out of them for assaulting her lover. When Pandi comes back to the factory he notices the two people on the floor and decides to pack up and leave the factory to another city where people all around the country exorcise evil spirits from their loved ones. In the next scene the boss is at the hospital looking at his two men. He realizes that the girl is actually possessed and tries to back out of the deal, but the groom and his family make fun of his 100% kidnap success rate. The boss then decides to go after the girl on his own. In the next town, as the three friends book a hotel, we hear a TV ad playing saying that the demon of an unmarried witch is banned as she's too powerful to be exorcised. They go up to their rooms and Katani and Pandi sleep together so that Rui does not get creeped out. Early next morning, Pandi heads out to find someone to exorcise Rui. He goes around the city and is shocked at the number of possessed people there. Pandi then meets an old woman who tells him that the only way to get rid of the unmarried witch is to get her married as that's what she desires the most. But getting her married will get Rui killed, so they devise a plan to get her married to someone who is already married. This would make her the mistress and not the wife. This will anger the demon and she'll leave Rui's body forever. Listening to this Pandi asks the old woman to marry him but she just laughs at him because that would put her life in danger. So he decides to get married to a dog instead. The American reporter from the beginning of the movie is seen accompanying him to film the whole ordeal. Katani goes out looking for Pandi and watches him suit up for the wedding. He misinterprets this as Pandi's plan to get married to Rui. Katani gets mad and tries to get Rui to go with him but she just ends up running away. Meanwhile, we watch as the old lady makes arrangements for the marriage. Pandi gets married to the adorable dog and they both sit on a boat together. As they are about to dock, the whole town comes with sticks to beat up Pandi. They tell them that he brought an unmarried witch to the town even though it was banned. When they were performing their exorcism, they noticed a girl running. They realize that she's possessed by something and try to forcefully exorcise her. The demon takes over Rui's body and scares everyone away. Pandi promises to fix the problem and the mob decides to let him go. Kitani then confronts Pandi about his plan to marry Rui. Pandi realizes that Kitani isn't going to let him get married in peace, so he tricks him and lets Kitani get married to her instead. Just then we watch as the boss comes to the city. Rui is battling her demon at the edge of a building as she tries to commit suicide, but the demon isn't letting her do so. Everyone is terrified and the demon suddenly approaches the boss. He promises to get her married by the end of the day if she comes with him and her eternal desire can be finally fulfilled. The demon agrees and goes with him back to their city. Pandi and Kitani realize what has happened and decide to go after her. At the wedding we watch as the evil demon gets ready for her marriage. She covers her face so the groom doesn't get to see her and they sit around the fire. Just as they are finally about to tie the knot, they are interrupted by Kitani and Pandi. Kitani promises to marry her and keep her happy so she agrees. The boss stops but she shows her true colors and everyone at the ceremony runs away. Just as Kitani and the demon are about to get married they are interrupted by the old woman and the dog. They show her that the groom has already gotten married to a dog earlier and he's trying to have a fake wedding now. She even shows them a video where the groom's face is not clearly seen but she identifies him through the outfit. This angers the demon and she starts screaming. She then forces Pandi to get married to her as she's sick of waiting. Pandi agrees and just as they are about to get married, Rui stops the demon because she loves Pandi and doesn't want his life to get ruined by the demon. For the first time in her life she controls the demon and forces it to get married to herself. She completes the marriage by walking around the fire as that is how Indian tradition goes. Rui then gets on a bike and goes away by herself, finally smiling that she's happily married. The two men are left staring at her as they were both abandoned by the woman they love. Just as the movie ends the old lady disappears with a smile on her face indicating that she was an evil witch herself. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like the video please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.